get how I do it in PowerPoint to how I do it something else. So that's the reason. And OpenOffice isn't installed on the university PCs by default. So it's on my laptop, but it's not on this machine.
Okay, I don't know what my answer is to not using OpenOffice for my slides, probably because I'm in love with Keynote. So, right, my name is John Abbott. I work at Ordnance Survey, and I was involved in both the OpenData and OpenSpace projects. I'm responsible for all of Ordnance Survey's online web services, so any service that a customer can use to access our data online, I'm the product manager for. Right, so what I want to cover today, and feel free to shout out any questions as I'm going along, is give you an introduction to OS OpenData, explain or show you some examples of how people are using it, talk a little bit about OS OpenSpace, and then again show you some examples, and then finally do a demonstration of how one could create a map using OS OpenSpace, for which I'm hoping for a volunteer, and I'm also hoping that the development server that we're connecting to will stand up. Okay, so OS OpenData. So this was OS OpenData was announced by Gordon Brown in November of last year. In conjunction with Tim Berners-Lee, they decided that it would be a good idea for a number of Ordnance Survey data sets to be made available for free under an extremely permissive license, in order that people can use those data sets to help engage citizens in the business of government. So, for example, you might be using Ordnance Survey data in conjunction with some data that's released on the data.gov website to plot hospital episode statistics and then draw comparisons between the quality of service that you're getting in your hospital in your local area with one in a different hospital. Or perhaps something like plotting A-level results by school to figure out which is the best school to send your children to, that sort of thing. Anyway, so in November of last year, we were set the task of releasing a whole bunch of data sets, and then by April of this year, we made a number of them available. A number of raster data sets that you can use with your data on top of, and a number of vector data sets that you can use either as you can either style and use as contextual mapping, or use to do some sorts of analysis. I'll quickly whiz through some of these. So OS Street View is a 1 to 10,000 scale map that you can use as contextual mapping. The 1 to 250,000 mapping is again another raster data set that you can use to plot your data on top of. Miniscale is just further out, it's at 1 to 1 million scale. So you can go to the OpenData website and you can download all of these data sets for free and use them, frankly, to do pretty much anything that you would wish. Start your commercial business using them, use them use them yourself personally, or use them as part of a public sector or charity type organisation. They really are. It really is a very permissive license. Moving on to the vector products, this is a product called Vector Map District. Strictly speaking, comes in both a raster and a vector format. It's designed specifically for use on the web. So you can either take the raster, which has been styled by OS, or you can take the vectors and then style that as you would like yourself, dropping features and highlighting others depending on your particular use case. Then we've got Meridian 2, which is a 1 to 50,000 scale mapping, another vector data set that again you can obviously style together with Vector Map District to get a more seamless feel between your Ordnance Survey maps. Then at 1 to 250,000, there's Strategy, which again another vector data set, which in conjunction with Meridian 2 and Vector Map District, you can make into really quite a nice zoomable stack of data sets that you can plot your data on top of. Moving on, CodePoint Open I think is one of the most popular data sets that has been downloaded since April. It obviously gives you the locations of all the postcodes in the UK. It does. I think we take out, for reasons of privacy, we take out properties with single postcodes, I think, and there's no postcodes in there for Northern Ireland, I think, as well. The boundary line data set's a key one to be used in conjunction with a bunch of government data sets that you'll find on data.gov, because obviously it enables you to do thematic mapping. So again, we've seen some very interesting examples of people using boundary line to create thematic maps of government data or indeed their own data. Locator is a gazetteer of road names, and it goes together with, it says, click on this slide, which seems to have died. Hey, doesn't go together with that one. It goes together with the 50,000 scale gazetteer, which is a gazetteer of place names. Just jumping back. Landform panorama is a frozen set of height data, so you can use that to create all sorts of interesting applications. I saw recently an example of Ordnance survey of landform panorama terrain model using landform panorama with I think it was a 50,000 scale mapping draped over the top to give kind of 3D map view. Okay, so just very briefly, some examples of how open data is being used. On the left, there's an application called Cycle Streets, which is based on OpenStreetMap. So based on OpenStreetMap's vector data, because OpenStreetMap have footpaths and cycle paths in it, and you don't get that through any of the, certainly not as vectors through any of the OS open data products. But they're using CodePoint to do location. So when you type in a postcode of your starting location and your end location, using CodePoint to do those lookups. On Wikipedia, there's a few of these examples of people highlighting areas using OS open data, because I guess because we have it has a fairly permissive license that allows you to plot, well, to put up images of OS open data on something like Wikipedia. This one somebody introduced me to the other day, and I love it, so I'm going to switch computers and show you something in a minute. But for anybody who lives in London, not that I do, but you will have obviously noticed Boris, or everybody will have heard of Boris's bike schemes. What this map shows you are the locations of the places where you go and put your bike, so where you go and get it, and where you go and put it back. If if they're red, it means they're full. The snag with that is obviously if you're cycling around and you want to go somewhere, you need to put your bike back into one of these bike stations within a particular period of time. If you don't, then you're charged extra. And I think indeed you can cycle for free on one of Boris's bikes for half an hour, but if after half an hour you're then charged. So if you can't find a free bike station, or i.e. a bike station with a space for your bike, you may well end up paying extra. So what this is showing you is obviously the locations of the free ones. So bear with me. I just love this, so I just thought I'd show it to you. There's no Firefox on here, right? Would there be another browser in there?
Probably not by default. If we keep on that broken page or something.
Okay, so hopefully this will work with a bit of luck. Maybe not.